A white figure drifting across a bridge at night, lost and searching for her long-lost love. Stories of revenge tied up with murder and blood. These are the top 3 ghost stories of tragic love. On the night of September the 4th, 1945, hundreds of people gathered beneath a small iron bridge in Dundee, Scotland, staring up into the darkness, because word had spread that a woman in white had been seen walking back and forth across the bridge, pale and translucent. By the time the police arrived, the crowd had grown so large it spilled into the surrounding streets. People climbing walls and craning their necks, all waiting for the same thing: to see the pale figure that witnesses claimed appeared without a sound, moved slowly along the bridge, and then vanished into thin air. The next morning, the Courier newspaper ran a headline so strange it sounded like something from another century. The ghost of Coffin Mill had returned. The bridge where this was happening was Balgay Bridge, a narrow wrought iron crossing tucked among trees and steep embankments. For most of its life, it looked exactly how you'd expect a haunted bridge to look. Rusted railings, flaking paint, stonework slick with moss, and iron dark and decaying. Especially ominous in autumn, when the trees around it turned burnt orange and brown, and the light faded early. Even today, despite being repainted a bright, almost cheerful blue in the early 2000s, the bridge still feels wrong at night, like it's wearing a disguise that doesn't quite work. According to witnesses quoted in the paper, the figure was unmistakable. A woman, tall, thin, dressed in white. She didn't speak. She didn't react to the crowd below her. She simply appeared on the bridge, lingered, and then faded away. Some people swore they saw her looking down over the edge. Others claimed she moved back and forth as if searching for something she'd lost. And this wasn't the first time she'd been seen. Locals already knew the story of the White Lady, a ghost long associated with the nearby Coffin Mill, a real textile mill whose long, narrow shape earned it that grim nickname. And with her sightings came an old explanation for her death, one that sounded tragic but mundane, that she was a young mill worker whose hair became caught in the machinery, dragging her in before anyone could save her. An industrial accident, quick, brutal, forgotten. But almost no one truly believed that version, because there were other stories, darker ones. Some said the mill owner had taken advantage of her, that she became pregnant, and when the scandal threatened to surface, she was killed. Her death disguised as an accident in a place already known for swallowing workers whole. Others claimed she had been promised marriage, then abandoned, left disgraced and alone in a society that offered women like her no way out. In that version, she climbed Balgay Bridge herself late at night and threw her body into the darkness below. And if that was true, it would explain something else witnesses reported. The White Lady is almost always seen near the bridge, not deep in the woods and not inside the mill ruins, but right there on the iron span between one side and the other. People searching for her today say the same things those crowds said in 1945. The air feels heavier and quieter. Sounds seem muffled, and sometimes when the light is low and the trees are still, a pale shape appears where no one should be standing. That's why people still go there. Not just ghost hunters, but locals, students, couples daring each other to cross after dark, all standing quietly, watching the bridge, half hoping and half dreading that they'll see her tragic figure step into view. Because whether she died in machinery by betrayal or by her own hand, one thing seems certain to those who see her. Whatever happened on Balgay Bridge never truly ended. And on quiet nights when the crowd is gone and the city feels far away, the White Lady of Coffin Mill is still said to walk the bridge, silent, pale, and forever waiting at the place where her life came apart. In the far northeast of Scotland sits the romantic castle Crathes in Balgay near Aberdeen. Its winding ivy and pointed turrets the perfect fairy tale setting for a love story and tragic murder. It was built in the 16th century, upgraded from a wooden crannog from the early 14th century, on land gifted to the Burnett family by Robert the Bruce. It was the Burnett family home until it passed to the National Trust for Scotland in 1951. Such long and rich history has stayed in the old halls and turrets for centuries, the many generations leaving their mark on the castle in more ways than one. In the late 16th century, a young bride named Bertha was readying for her wedding at Crathes Castle the very next day. She was to marry the young Laird Alexander Burnett, their love surpassing the barriers of class, him being of noble blood, and her merely a commoner. They did not care. But quietly, behind outward acts of pleasantry and politeness, his mother, Lady Agnes, seethed with rage at their union. She refused to accept that Bertha was good enough for her son, and she plotted to put a stop to the relationship. When Alexander went away for the night to make his preparations for the next day, his mother had dinner with the young bride-to-be, slipping a few drops of poison into her food. Alexander came home to find his love dead, and immediately threw accusations at his mother, citing her petty pride and her judgmental looks as proof that she had never accepted his betrothed. However, having no concrete evidence, he could not have his mother arrested or punished, but his deceased bride soon took her own revenge. When her parents arrived to collect her body, Lady Agnes suddenly cried, "She comes! She comes!" before dropping to the cold stone floor, dead before she hit the ground. Ever since, on the anniversary of her death, Bertha is still seen wandering the castle and its grounds, mourning her loss, seeking her husband-to-be, but still not at peace, even after she sought her revenge on her killer. Another bride in Scotland came to a grisly end, far away in Ayr, the birthplace of Robert Burns. Located near Alloway, the beautiful bridge Brig of Doon was built in the early 15th century, but was described as ruinous by 1593. It is picture postcard perfect, the high arch and the stonework making it a popular romantic backdrop for couples eloping from all over the world. One such couple in the late 17th century were newly married when they were crossing the bridge. The day was violently stormy, the bride's dress whipped by the wind after they had said their vows to each other. Some say the bride was fleeing a disapproving mob, others say they were simply travelling home after their wedding feast. But the storm hit them hard as they crossed the bridge. The rain lashed and the river was swollen and rushed beneath them, breaking the banks and reaching high up the bridge's stonework. A flash of lightning, a slip on wet stone, a dark figure appearing before them. Nobody knows. But the horse reared and the bride fell far down into the dark waters, the heavy cloth of the bride's dress dragging her under like a shroud. Her husband survived. His new bride's corpse was never found. And since then, travellers have reported seeing a woman in white standing at the edge of the bridge, her dress soaked and clinging, her hair plastered to her face as if she had just climbed from the river. Some say she weeps quietly. Others say she reaches out to passing couples. In the cruelest detail of the legend, she is said to appear most often to newlyweds or lovers walking together at night, as though drawn to the happiness she was denied. Those who approach her claim she vanishes the moment they get close, leaving behind only the sound of rushing water and the cold certainty that something tragic has replayed itself yet again.